How's it going, everyone? It has been a while, hasn't it? Take a bit of a hiatus, just some time. But I am back because Jason's got interest and he's gonna tell him. Today we're gonna be talking about video games again. And not just any kind of video games. Some video games that the world, or America, which is essentially the world, too egregious, barbaric, and just downright filled with gross, sexual assaultish overtones. And some not even overtones, don't worry. We're gonna get to that. And we're not gonna be talking about your GTAs, your Mortal Kombats, your Call of Duties, because obviously games like that are going to be banned in certain sections of the world. So today I'm gonna be taking a look at games that are specifically banned in the good old US of A. Because if I know anything about Americans, is that we tend to try and get away with some shit. So let's see what kind of games are so outrageous that even we have to look and think, what the fuck are we doing here? But before we go on ahead, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. I'm still very small, hoping to grow in the future, and keep doing this kind of stuff if you like it. So please, now let's get on to it. First up, we got Manhunt 2. Oh shit, I've actually heard of this one. Rockstar Games' Manhunt series, particularly Manhunt 2, sparked significant controversy due to extreme violence and graphic content. Released in 2007, Manhunt 2 followed Daniel Lamb, a mentally disturbed patient who escapes a psychiatric facility, facing graphic, sadistic violence as he kills enemies with weapons like syringes, crowbars, and power saws. The game featured intense stealth kills, with the player sneaking up behind victims to execute them in gruesome, detailed scenes. Now, how graphic are we talking here? Because, video games nowadays, they tend to not take as many liberties as they used to, but this is 2007. Actually, hang on, let me just, because I can't imagine it's anything like that bad at this point, like we're so desensitized to this kind of thing that nothing really can shock us, I guess. Jesus, just the amount of holy I didn't realize how detailed that was. And the BBFC initially rejected the game for its unremitting bleakness and sustained casual sadism. What the fuck is the BBFC? The British Board of Film Classification. Oh, well, those good old Brits, taking away our blood and gore and censorship, prompting Rockstar to release an edited version with reduced gore. Despite these changes, Manhunt 2 was banned in several countries. The game's rejection in the UK led to a legal battle with the Video Appeals Committee, ultimately granting an 18+ certificate in 2008 for the modified version. Wait, so it's still out? Okay, so you can still play it. Why is this on the list then? I don't know if what I saw was like the crazy... Oh wait, no, it says right here, cut content. Okay. I assume as long as they, tone it down a little bit, then, we're good to go at that point. I wonder what kind of people work here at the Video Appeals Committee. What kind of, schlub is working a day-to-day office job there? Because that sounds like something I need. Wait, hang on. There's also a little blurb down here. The original Manhunt 2003 involved stealth-based gameplay where players controlled a character committing brutal executions, which was linked to the 2004 murder of a 14-year-old boy. What? Stefan Pekir. I'm not even gonna try because I don't want to butcher the kid's name, leading to debates about the game's influence on real-world violence. Okay, now you see, that's the thing, right? People always harp on whenever certain tragedies happen, they're like, oh, this certain individual played video games, or they watched these kind of movies, or, whatever. And to me, that's like, a person has to already be pretty psychologically damaged when they, commit these acts or whatever. And definitely if that person is exposed to certain video games and media, that's obviously not going to help it in any way whatsoever. But you can't put the entirety of the blame on it, because if that was the case, all of us would be psychopaths. And we're not. But next up, we got The Guy Game. The Guy Game was a controversial trivia video game released in 2004 that combined quiz gameplay with explicit live-action footage of women in bikinis. The gameplay followed a simple game show-like format where players answered multiple-choice questions in a variety of topics, including pop culture, sports, and general knowledge. Which, from what I'm seeing here, it definitely looks like it was influenced by like the very raunchy mid-2000s, Girls Gone Wild type of scenes, which is like, girls just, flash their titties out, a camera's pointed in their direction, and I'm probably gonna have to censor that. Which, looking back at that era, that is a crazy time. It's so wild how that was very popularized and was considered somewhat of a norm back in the day. Because obviously everyone has heard of Girls Gone Wild and shit, but I do genuinely wonder what the people that appear in those, movies, if you would call them movies, like think of looking back, you know? Are they disappointed in themselves that they flash, you know, their tits and pussy like on for the whole world to see, essentially? Each correct answer allowed players to unlock short video clips featuring scantily clad women removing their tops and flashing their breasts. The game's format and content mirrored the broader cultural, okay, yeah, see, of the early 2000s, where adult-themed entertainment like Girls Gone Wild was hugely popular. The Guy game borrowed from that same exploitative formula, appealing to the same audience with its mix of nudity and voyeurism. Again, I assume the market for this is, you know, very sexually deprived, you know, horny teenage boys, which, ooh, those were the times. The game sparked outrage when it was revealed that one of the actresses featured in the footage was 17 years old! Oh! Oh, nope. Okay, I'm definitely not going to be showing any footage in this. Therefore, leading to possession of this game counting a CP. This led to serious legal and ethical concerns, oh you think? Culminating in a recall of the game and its removal from the store shelves in 2005. The Guy game faced legal action, including a lawsuit from the underage actress, and was banned in several regions shortly after. It is completely illegal to own this game, as you do not want to be... you do not want to be in possession of CP. So I'm just gonna quickly move on from there before I get... Next up, we got Thrill Kill. Thrill Kill was a fighting game developed in the late 1990s for the Sony PlayStation. Notorious for its violent content and dark themes, the game took place in Hell, where a cast of bizarre, disturbing characters battled in brutal 4-player matches. Instead of traditional health bars, Thrill Kill used a kill meter that filled up as players dealt damage, unlocking gruesome finishing moves when maxed out. In terms of gameplay wise, I'm not seeing, you know, too much wrong with it. This sounds like something like, you know, Mortal Kombat or Fatal Fury. I don't know what Fatal Fury is. Or Killer Instinct, there we go. But in terms of things that have already been out, you know, obviously Mortal Kombat was, you know, very controversial during its day, but this isn't anything new, you know? For example, one character named the Doctor would rip off an opponent's limb and beat them with it, while another character, Belladonna, would use her spiked whip in brutal and explicit attacks. Oh. Belladonna. The graphic violence and sadistic design choices stirred up concerns about its impact on players, leading to a storm of controversy when Electronic Arts bought the game's publisher. Uh-oh, we got a big boy here, EA. When Electronic Arts bought the game's publisher, Virgin Interactive, they chose to cancel Thrill Kill, saying it was too violent and didn't align with their brand image. However, bootleg copies of the game surfaced online, giving Thrill Kill a cult following. So this didn't even, you know, make the cut, it looks like. Then why is it on here? If it didn't, well, I guess, you know, the bootleg copies are out. But by this point, like, everyone's already used to seeing, you know, fucking flying titties and shit in Mortal Kombat. But Jesus, they just, EA coming out with the fuck you to Virgin Interactive. I know you all worked so tirelessly, you know, to perfectly craft this woman's body, but we're just gonna bring that shit crumbling down. That game's not seeing the light of day whatsoever. Oh, you know your son that you didn't get to see growing up because you were working on this game? Yeah, well, don't worry, you can spend as much time with him as you want now, but he probably hates your fucking guts. Next up, we got Paranautical Activity. Paranautical Activity was a first-person shooter that procedurally generated dungeons and random enemies, bosses and items, and as the game implies, it revolves around shooting ghosts on a haunted ship. There was no real controversy surrounding the actual game or its development. Okay, so we got another one of these then. The real controversy came when the game's lead developer Mike Malbec sent death threats to the president of Valve, Gabe Newell. Oh no, Gabe, what did he do to you? The game initially faced issues with distribution on Steam due to its description listing that the product was in early access. Malbec saw this as a potential damage to sales, and in a bit of rage posted to Twitter, "I am going to kill Gabe Newell. He is going to die." Holy fuck. Alright, you can't get more straightforward than that, I guess. In response, Steam immediately removed Paranautical Activity from their platform and deactivated Malbec's admin account. Malbec would resign from Paranautical Activity's developer Code Avarice. You know what? Good. That is the most incel shit I think I've heard coming out of a game developer. Actually, you know what? That's not saying much. Alright, this next one looks pretty short. We got Baby Shaker. Baby Shaker, a mobile game that was released in 2009 on the App Store for iOS devices. The game would show a picture of a baby on screen that would begin wailing and crying uncontrollably, and in order to get it to stop, you would have to shake your phone violently until 2 red X's appeared on the baby's eyes. Who would fucking make that? Timmy, stop crying! The game quickly garnered the attention of parents and child advocacy groups due to its glorification of child abuse and shaken baby syndrome, prompting Apple to remove the app from its store only days after its release. Wow. So this thing only saw just a glimpse of life, much like that baby. I can't fucking say that. Oh my God. I want to know. I want to meet the kind of people that make these type of games, you know, because I'm from the Newgrounds era. You know, I've seen a lot of messed up shit, but I just want to see the person behind this. You know, this person is probably, you know, working, you know, in the cubicle somewhere, and you show them like, oh, remember Baby Shaker? And I just want to see their reaction to that. Like, oh man, I don't know what the fuck I was doing there, you know, and I genuinely hope you feel ashamed of yourself for that. Alright, and we got a couple left to go. We got some heavy hitters, it looks like. Hatred, released in 2015, Hatred is an isometric shooter that gained notoriety due to its disturbing premise and violent content. Players take the role of a mass shooter that embarks on a killing spree, murdering innocent civilians and law enforcement in, quote, a genocide crusade for no other reason than to kill as many humans as possible due to their hatred of the world and contempt for society. So I know I brought up incels earlier, but this I guess this personifies, you know, an incel video game. Well, I guess more like emo, edgy type. Ugh, I fucking hate everything. Everyone needs to die! The game was met with overall criticism since the first trailer came out until its release, with sites like Polygon and PC Magazine. Oh, you don't want to fuck with those guys, you know. Those PC Magazine game writers will fuck you up, man. Labeling it as grisly, extremely violent, very tacky, and a rhetoric failure. Ooh! Though many supporters of the game praised it for its form of freedom of expression. Not sure how much freedom of expression there is, you know, considering it's just mowing down civilians and killing as many people as possible. Jaroslaw Zielinski, the CEO of Destruction Creations, Hatred's developer, was quoted saying, "We are developing a game about killing people. It doesn't pretend to be anything else than what it is, and we don't add to it any fake philosophy." You know what? At least they're honest about it, I guess. A very messed up way of thinking about it, you know, considering what your game's about. Like, obviously people are gonna read into that regardless of what you say. Though the game would initially be banned from Steam Greenlight, Hatred was later reinstated after Gabe Newell intervened, calling it a removal mistake. Though the game would later receive an adults-only rating, therefore severely limiting its availability to most consumers. You know, giving a game an adult-only rating is not gonna... Because, look, I could still... Yeah, see? I could still buy it on Steam. That is not gonna block any kid from purchasing this game. You know how many accounts I created for just random things? I don't even know why I would like Club Penguin. I lied that I was like 22 at the time when I was playing it, and for no reason whatsoever. This would not keep me from playing it. That's all I'm saying. Next up, we got Custer's Revenge. Custer's Revenge is an adult video game released in 1982, for the Atari 2600 by American developer Mystique. Even with the game's pixelated graphics, not much is left to the imagination with this title. Uh-oh. The game's premise is simple but extremely offensive, where the players control a character resembling General George Custer. Wait, hang on, who is that? Oh no. In the complete nude? Oh no. Tasked with dodging arrows to reach the tied-up Native American woman. Oh no. Where he reaches her, he begins to sexually assault her, and the longer he is there, the more points he accumulates. What? Okay, so obviously, I would put something here to give you an example as to what exactly we're looking at. Even though it is pixelated, as it mentions, there's not much left to the imagination. So I'm not gonna risk this. I'm not gonna put this up. It is gross. No. Needless to say, the game received backlash from multiple women's rights groups, politicians, and indigenous organizations. Atari even sued Mystique Studios in order to prevent the game from hitting stores. But despite all its backlash, the game was only banned in the state of Oklahoma, which just so happens to have a high population of Native American residents. Oh god, I don't want to talk about this one anymore. But even though no other states technically banned the game, it wouldn't matter as Mystique Game Studios would ultimately go out of business, therefore ending production of this title. Wow, who would have thought, you know, the video game studio that, you know, that shows an 8-bit character sexually assaulting what's clearly an indigenous person. It didn't fly off the shelves. People were lining up at their local Walmart to purchase it. God, dude, that is so bad. People could probably make the argument, you know, oh, it's a different time. Well, you know, just because you say it's a different time doesn't mean, you know, it makes it okay. Like, if people back in the day were eating dog shit and, you know, they found, like, the health benefits of, you know, eating and consuming dog shit, I still would think, that's really weird. Why would they need dog shit? Oh, God. And last on the list, I'm not saying that. I am not gonna say that. We'll call it Roleplay. Roleplay is a Japanese import developed by Illusion in 2006. In it, players control a character who stalks, gropes, and assaults multiple women, including minors! Due to its shocking premise and graphic depictions of sexual violence, Roleplay received global condemnation from human rights organizations, governments, major news outlets such as CNN, as well as the overall general public, because it is a crime against actual human decency to play this game. It was quickly banned in numerous countries, including the United States, with platforms like Amazon removing it after backlash. Good job, Bezos. I don't praise you for much, but you did one thing right. Illusion did offer a defense for the game, really now, primarily pointing to the cultural differences and the intended audience in Japan. Just because, you know, it's accepted to eat dog shit in a certain part of the world, does it make it okay to eat the dog shit? Let me also just go ahead and read off what I found here, okay? One especially important scene had the player forcibly impregnate a woman and then urge her to get an abortion. Oh, it's okay, you know, it's just cultural differences. What do these fucking Americans know, you know? The game's existence sparked significant debates on ethical boundaries in gaming and led to an increased scrutiny over the content of adult games, especially in Japan, where similar games face tighter regulations. In other words, you know, not fucking cool. Oh my god. I already know I'm gonna have to clean up most of my search history, you know, what I haven't already cleared, but I still can't get cultural differences. And considering, you know, Japan already has a very high sexual assault rate, and, you know, in the land of video games where you want to sort of escape that kind of tragedy, you know, saying something like this just, you know, stabs a fucking blade in my chest, you know? God, that's awful. And I would like to meet the dweeb that is playing this type of game and just sit down, have a nice, you know, long chat with him. Ask him, you know, what exactly is going on, and then, you know, just, yeah, crank it. And well, that was the list of banned games in America. I don't even want to get started with the rest of the world, because, you know, I thought, you know, we were already pretty lenient when it comes to certain things that we show in video games, but apparently not. Apparently the human mind is capable of a lot more messed up shit. I hope you all learned something from this, and any future game developers out there, take note. Please, please, please. I guess, you know, you want to express yourself in whatever way you can, and if that's through the means of video games, go, you know what, that's perfectly fine. But there is a line, and you 100% do not cross that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this vid. And, you know, for the sake of my sanity, I hope I never have to hear about any of these titles ever again. But that'll be it, everyone. Take care. Go ahead and like and subscribe. That would really help me out. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.